Hey everybody, this week we're gonna talk vinyl and we're gonna go through Van Halen. Got a lot to get through, so let's do it. Hey everybody, it's the Snowman with TooLoudTooOldMusic.com. Welcome back to the collection. All right, this week I thought I'd go through my Van Halen vinyl. I'm not a Van Halen expert by any means. I don't have all the vinyl. I don't have Van Halen 3. I don't have a different kind of truth. I think I'm missing a live album, but I do have a lot of their vinyl and some bootlegs that I'd like to go through, and even the 7-inch singles. So we're going to do all the vinyl that I have. And I'm sure everybody knows Van Halen. I mean, how could you not with Eddie Van Halen on guitar, Alex Van Halen on drum, Michael Anthony on bass, and then David Lee Roth on vocals. Of course, that was the starting lineup for them back in the day. One time they were known as Genesis, one time they were known as Mammoth, but we all know them as Van Halen. It was back in 76. I think Gene Simmons from Kiss got a hold of them and did some demos. I think they recorded 10 demos. Not all of them made it on the first album, but that was kind of where I guess they started to become known, was through those demos and stuff. So that is actually the first thing we're going to start with. We're going to start with Van Halen Zero Demos. And here is the back of it. This bootleg, I think I was standing in line for record store day and the store had it. And here is the white splatter. Really pretty. I like that one a lot. Um, the demos, they're demos, so they're not always that great, which is fine. But what's really cool is a lot of these ended up, not a lot of them, three or four of them ended up on a different kind of truth, reworked many years later. But you do get songs like On Fire, which is, it's on the debut. It's mostly there, but not quite there yet. Then we get Woman in Love, which is almost unrecognizable compared to what's on Van Halen 2, which is much, much better. House of Pain, even though on here they call it House in Pain, it is vicious. It's a really killer song. David's just really attacking it. His vocals are really awesome on it. It's just a nasty, nasty song. And the outro of it turns into what would actually be the opening for Running with the Devil. And then we do have Running with the Devil here, which we all know. And then She's the Woman, which was written for, rewritten for different kind of truth. You flip it over, you got Let's Get Rockin', which is completely different. It's Out of Space is what it's called on A Different Kind of Truth, but Let's Get Rockin' here. We get Big Trouble, which is also on that different kind of truth, except I think it's known as Big River on that one. It's a punchy song. Dave sounds really young. He sounds really good too at that point. Then we get Somebody Get Me a Doctor, which we all know. Then I don't think this next one ever wound up on anything. Babe, Don't Leave Me Alone. And then the final track is Put Out the Lights. You might recognize this one is Beats Working from 2012's Different Kind of Truth. So I thought I'd go through all of those songs real quick. It's a wonderful, awesome, awesome demo. So glad I found it to have those songs from the Gene Simmons. And at that time, Gene Simmons actually used them. I used Alex and Eddie to record a few songs on demos for Kiss. And I'm trying to remember, those were, I think, I'm going to be wrong here probably. Got Love for Sale, Christine 16, and Tunnel of Love. Those are the ones that they did the demos. You can get those on the Vault, which I have. So you can, but you don't really, it doesn't sound like Van Halen, in my opinion, at all on those. So that was the first thing I've got. And I started that one because that's before the debut, even though I didn't get it till a few years ago. But then, of course, we have the debut album, which is just simply titled Van Halen. Look at that. I mean, it's just, you can't beat this one. Came out on February 10th, 1978. Might be one of the best debut albums from any band ever. It's definitely right up there. Yeah, it's just incredible. I mean, you got really got me. Jamie's crying, on fire, running with the devil. I'm the one. Ain't talking about love. Little Dreamer, feel your love tonight. Atomic Punk, Eruption, Ice Cream Man. Now, of course, that's not necessarily the order they go in, but Eruption, probably one of the greatest single or greatest instrumentals of all time. Eddie was just above and beyond everybody else then. Just incredible. So yeah, that's the debut. Nothing special here. It's got the Warner Brothers label. I think I still might even have the insert for it. It's upside down, but there's the insert for it as well. So that one's a really great one. And then another thing I have related to the debut album, it's another bootleg. This one is Catch a Rising Star live at Pogo's nightclub, Wichita, Kansas. Excuse me, April 3rd, 1978. Um, this thing is really killer. Um, I'm trying to think. It's a short show for sure. It's only, yeah, it's only a handful of songs down here. Um, it is a showcase for up and coming stars during the 70s, and it's been 40 years, and this was finally released in true soundboard quality. And let me tell you, the sound is fantastic. These guys are young, they're hungry. It is just Dave's on top form, and yeah, and just love him. I mean, I'm sorry, we might as well go ahead and put up there between Dave and Sammy. I do love Sammy. I collect Sammy stuff, but when it comes to Van Halen, I'm gonna grab Dave Van Halen before I grab Sammy stuff. That's just me. And in the band, Alex and Michael, they sound really great. So if you ever see this one, it is a great show. I think when I did a review of it, I gave it a 5 out of 5. I don't remember if it's got a colored vinyl in here or not. We will check. Oh yeah, it's got a red. I really like the red. This one's just a solid red. Um, I like the label on it. That's really cool. Um, yeah, so great bootleg if you ever find that one. Definitely worth picking up, in my opinion. All right, then we're going to go to the second album, which came out on March 23rd, 1979. It is Van Halen 2. More great well, action shots from the band. And like the last one, I still have the insert, and I really do love that insert. Um, Vinyl wise, we got the Warner label. Um, it's really, really in great shape. If I can get it back into the case. Yeah, I love this album. Not as good as the debut, of course, but what could possibly be as good as that? They had a couple, they had one cover on here, but it does have Dance the Night Away, Somebody Get Me a Doctor, Bottoms Up, which is awesome. Spanish Fly, the instrumental. Nothing better than Eddie doing an instrumental. DOA is one of my favorites on here, and then Beautiful Girls as well. So that's the second album. And as far as a single, I do actually have Dance the Night Away on a 45. There's Dave doing his little split on the back. See a little ring wear right there, uh, and right there. But yeah, so happy to have the single for that one as well. Then we're gonna get to another one of my favorite albums of theirs. Came out March 26th, 1980. It is Women and Children First. And there is the back cover and its blurriness. This one I don't have the insert, but we do have the Warner Brothers label there. So sadly, I don't have that insert on there. But yeah, another great, great album. I mean, it's got opens up with "And the Cradle Will Rock," and then "Everybody Wants Some." Romeo Delight. Love that song too. Another great little short instrumental with Tora Tora. Could This Be Magic is fun. Just a great, great album. And one of the other ones that's kind of like a go-to for me. And what I have that is really cool, or I think it is really cool, is I have a bootleg. It is the Women and Children First Sessions. This great little thing there. No insert, but imagine this red vinyl. I mean, can you believe that? They're all red. Um, so these are the demos from Women and Children's First. Um, it's got In the Cradle of Rock. The Romeo Delight is an instrumental. Um, Everybody Wants Some, Lost in Control, Take the Whiskey Home, an instrumental. Fools is on here. Another song is In a Simple Rhyme, which is an instrumental. Take Your Whiskey Home intro. And then it's got some bonus tracks with Jean Genie from Pasadena, 1976, with the David Bowie cover, a Voodoo Queen, and Bullet Head. All just really killer songs on here. And the Bullet Head one, that one ends up on 2012's Different Kind of Truth. So most of these demos they did rework and do on that album. Voodoo Queen, if you didn't know, is actually Mean Street, all fair warning. So they turned that one into that. It's just another killer demo. I mean, it's a newer release sound. They've really cleaned up the sound. Perfect. It's just amazing. All their demos so far have just been just top notch, well worth getting, and you've got to grab them if you see them. All right, then we're gonna go to, how many good ones they have. April 29th, 1981. We have Fair Warning. I love this one. The artwork is from I think it's a Canadian artist named William Kurlek or something like that. It's called The Maze. Um, there is the Warner Brothers logo on that, and I do have the insert. There's that, and the band right there. So really happy to have the insert on that one. And this is just another stellar release. Mean Street is on this one. Uh, Unchained is kind of where I remember seeing that one on MTV every now and again. Um, so I remember the debut because my brothers had the debut. Um, and then I think I heard Van Halen too, but it was probably Fair Warning when I got back into them with Unchained. And so This Is Love. Um, I think, and then I heard Mean Street. So when I heard this album, that's kind of when I started getting back into or wanted to get back into them. The next album, not so much. But that's Fair Warning. It's just phenomenal. I mean, they haven't had a bad album yet. And this, not that this one is a bad album, but we have Diver Down from 1982, April 14th. And I only say I don't like this one too much because there's so many covers on it. And so here's the insert. Love that. Love all the pictures of the band, and it is just normal Warner Brothers label on that as well. Yeah, there was just a lot of covers, and I think that's what turned me off to it. I mean, it starts off with a Kinks cover. There's a Roy Orbison cover with "Oh Pretty Woman," which is just a good cover, and then "Dancing in the Street," the Martha and the Vandellas cover. But then, didn't Mick Jagger and David Bowie do that song as well? Horrible. Big Bad Bill, which I love, Margaret Young cover, and then Happy Trails, which is corny at the end of Roy Rogers and Dale Evans cover. So just a lot of covers. There are some good songs, Hang 'em High, little instrumentals with Cathedral and Intruder. I really like little guitars and the intro to that. Um, but all in all, to me, it was a very rushed, lacking album, and my least favorite of the David Lee Roth era. So I'll say that. But I do have the single, "It's a Pretty Woman." So can't go wrong with that. The flip side is Happy Trails. Um, and then I also have my last bootleg, which is a live show, Destruction in Dallas, Reunion Arena, Dallas, Texas, November 18th, 1982. It's a 2 LP, and you're not going to believe the color if I told you. It is red for that one. Thankfully, they saved the day and they give us a white one for the other LP. So yeah, this is a live show, um, full set, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Just incredible. It's the sound is not that great. I still recommend it. I recommend anything Van Halen and live and that you can get your whole head on or a hold of. It's awesome. There are some demos at the very end after the show. Glitter, Gentleman of Leisure, and Angel Eyes. It's actually just Dave playing. Angel Eyes is Dave playing an acoustic guitar, believe it or not. It's a softer ballad. It's really nice, actually. Gentleman of Leisure. It's what you'd expect. More Eddie and Dave doing Dave. It's a really rough recording, but it's not that bad. Guitar is front and center as you'd expect, and the other one is Glitter. It's got some cool Eddie riffing at the beginning, and Dave's vocals. He just struts through those vocals. It's a pretty cool song. It's not quite the same style that we're used to hearing from them and stuff, but it's still pretty good. The show, like I said, Dave seemed a little drunk at first when the show started off. He just seemed a little off. The backing vocals were killer. Of course, Michael Anthony can just nail it. Eddie was as awesome as ever, but the other instruments were just not as strong. The bass, I didn't hear. The drums weren't as strong. The guitar definitely was for sure. But it is a pretty cool set. You can't go wrong with it. I just think the sound and quality of it was a little lacking, but a 3 out of 5 is still above average. So it's definitely worth getting if you can find it out there. All right. The next thing we have from January 9th, 1984. It's 1984. And see, I've always wondered why that is. So we got the flip side. So if I just flip it, it's upside down. So we have to flip it up like that. I've never understood why that was the case. I'm assuming that's normal. I don't have another copy to find out. Uh, We do have an insert with the band. It's all ripped up. It's got the Warner label. This little sheet is barely hanging on. I really shouldn't have it in there, but that's okay. This album was massive, just totally massive. It brought keyboards into it. I think Eddie just after Diver Down, I don't think Eddie liked Diver Down too much because of all the covers. So he really took control on this one, added some keyboards from Jump. Panama, one of my favorites. There's not a bad song on this thing. Top Jimmy, Drop Dead Legs, Hot for Teacher, and I'll Wait, Girl Gone Bad, House of Pain. The demo is from back there. And I have a few singles from this one as well. I have I'll Wait. Got that one. I have Jump as well. And that's got House of Pain on it. And then I have um, Hot for Teacher. And there's the cover there. This is just in some plastic. It just kind of folds out like this. Um, so it's really great. It's really cool. Yeah, this is one of my favorite David Lee Roth albums, and of course Van Halen albums in general. It was all over MTV. It was huge. It also made, I think, Dave think he could go on his own, which he did and did very well. So I guess that is true. He could go on his own. But yeah, they were having trouble at this time, and this was the last album with David Lee Roth, and actually the last album with Ted Templeman. Ted Templeman, I think, had produced every single album up to this point. And so at this point, Van Halen was pretty much over as we know it, and they searched and searched and found a singer. And I've read somewhere that Ted Templeman had mentioned Sammy because Ted had worked with Sammy. And then I read somewhere that they got Sammy from a recommendation from some guy fixing Eddie's Ferrari, because I'm sure Sammy had a Ferrari too, those kind of things. I don't remember which is true. Who knows? But what we do know is we now in a new era, and we are now in 1986 on March 24th. We were introduced to 5150. And this is around the same time, Dave came out with Eat 'em and Smile, and honestly, I prefer Dave's album, but I do like this one. This was big in my life back then. Still have the insert on that one. Um, yeah, it's just, yeah, I think Dave's was more rockin'. This one had a lot, it had more keyboards and just more, it was more produced, I guess. But it's great. I mean, this was like I think a big hit with my friends and stuff. It was on the radio all the time. Why Can't This Be Love? Dreams, Summer Nights, Best of Both World, Love Walks In, 5150 itself, and Inside, which is kind of corny but kind of fun at the same time. Uh, so yeah, as far as introducing the band again with that, it's a great album. Can't go wrong with it. Um, I have a couple singles from this one as well. I have Why Can't This Be Love, the explosion on the back. And then I have Love Walks In as well. So those are my two singles that I have from that particular album. Then on May 24th, 1988, we get OU 812. Um, I kind of like the back cover there. That'd made a good cover in my opinion. Um, so here we have the insert as well. So got that. And then this, a different label. Um, and that's so this one, at times I like this one, and at times I don't. Um, I don't know if it was kind of overplayed or not. I don't know, but it's got songs like "Mine All Mine," "When It's Love," "The Cobble Wobble's good," "Finish What You Started," "Feels So Good," "Black and Blue," which I'm not a huge fan of. "Sucker and a Three Piece" I didn't like. AFU, I didn't really care for that one. Source of Infection, no. So, I mean, I'd say I like half the album and don't like half the album. So that's why I kind of don't, it's not one of my favorite albums. But the singles were good. Here we've got When It's Love, and then we got Finish What You Started, and then lots of glare. There we go. So yeah, I mean, yeah, this album's hit and miss. It's a good album. It's just not out of the Sammy years, it's my least favorite of those. Um, but then we get to one of my favorites that they've done. So the first two were okay, but I really like the next one. June 17th, 1991, we get For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. This is the deluxe edition. So this has the vinyl. This also has some CDs in it as well. Um, so yeah, this is the big baby here. This has never been released on vinyl until I think this time when they did this, which is why I grabbed it. Um, and I just think it's a killer album from top to bottom. Pound Cake. I mean, the guitar playing on this. See, that's I think of the other albums. Guitar playing was good, but the guitar playing on this from Eddie was just better. Pound Cake had the drill sound and stuff. Judgment Day, Run Around, Pleasure Dome, I think is really cool. The Dream Is Over right now, which is one of their biggest hits, I think. I like the instrumental 316, and then Top of the World was a nice way to end the album. So yeah, it's really, I think they stepped it up a notch with this one. And I think Sammy wanted to call the album Fuck, but that's not really going to go over too well. He wanted the controversy. He wanted he was tired of the censorship. So someone told him it fucking stood for unlawful carnal knowledge, which I don't believe is actually true. Um, but that's what they went with, and just kind of funny little thing. So that is that one. Then we're gonna go to a live album, which I have the Record Store Day edition of it. It's live right here, right now. It is a 4 LP edition. It is massive. Uh, just all sorts of great stuff in here. As you can see how thick that sucker is. It's as big as the deluxe edition of the box sets. Um, and it's an okay live album. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's bad. I don't know. Like I said, I like Dave's era, so I'm not going to be bad. I still buy all the stuff. I still listen to all this stuff. I haven't listened to this one since I bought it, um, but it's great. I mean, they do a couple Dave era songs, but of course, mostly it's all going to be Sammy. So they had the 3 albums to play off of for Sammy, and they do play a lot of them. And Sammy does get some of his solo songs on here, because I know we Give to Live, One Way to Rock. I think, was there anything else they had on there? No, I think those are the only ones. So he had a couple solo songs and then all the Van Halen songs. So always worth it if you can grab that one as well. All right, then we get, and I have the deluxe edition of this as well, and this is Balance. So this is this is just like for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. It's got the vinyl over here, and then we have the CDs over there as well. Um, it comes with a book. There's a booklet in there as well, a Blu-ray with some videos and stuff like that. Remastered album, and then there's some rarities and a small live show from June 24th, 1995. So now, when those 2 deluxe editions came out, I hope I got it right. I think they both came out after I bought this box set. I have the Van Halen 2, or Collection 2, 1986 to 96. This is the Sammy era. So I got this because at this time I didn't have either of Balance or For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. I didn't have either of those on vinyl. So I wanted that. Plus, you get the bonus vinyl here with all the studio rarities that were like bonus tracks but weren't on the vinyl. And so this one comes with all of that as well. It's a nice little box. We get, of course, we get 5150. We get OU812, and all these are in so much better shape than mine. Um, except then we are for all unlawful carnal knowledge. We get balance. So now I have all the Sammy albums. Now I have duplicates of 2 originals, 2 deluxe, and then this box set. But the box set is worth it. So I can get the studio rarities 1989 to 2004. I don't think there's no color. These are all just black vinyls. Nothing in there, no colored vinyl or anything like that. So that's all the albums. Um, I have. I do not have Van Halen 3 with Gary Sharon. I don't know if it is on vinyl, and I don't have a different kind of truth. I know there was LP for that, but it is super pricey if you can find one. I think there's a bootleg or a counterfeit of that one out there as well. I know I'm missing a live album or 2 on vinyl, and those again are, I know the one I'm thinking about is really pricey as well. So someday I'll get those. It's just, they're over 100, $200 to get those. And so I'm in no rush. I have other things I have to pay for. So, like I said, someday if I can find one, I'll grab it. All right, but that's my Van Halen collection on vinyl. Like I said, I don't have everything, but I do have some cool bootlegs, and I enjoy showing those off. So hopefully you liked it. If you did, click like, hit subscribe, and if you didn't, hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. And thanks again for watching. See you next time on The Collection.